Happy Facebook Live time. Welcome, whether you're joining me live or coming to me on the replay through Facebook or YouTube. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here and joining me at Melissa's Crafting Treehouse. I'm Melissa Kerman, and I am a crafter and Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I've been doing paper crafts for over 16 years, and I love it, and doing crafts my whole life. So I have some fun for you today, and I'm going to start with a little bit of a story. Hi, Catherine, welcome. And I've got some announcements and some really fun projects. I've got 3 projects to share that feature the Painted Poppies stamp set, which is part of the Peaceful Poppies product suite in the new mini catalog. Hi, Pam, welcome. Yay, people joining. It's so fun to see. So my little story. Okay, so today was a bit of a crazy day. For those of you that live here in the Charlotte area or in the Southeast, maybe it was crazy for you too. I have a regular commitment that to my personal health, which is to go to a yoga class every Thursday morning. And I did that today. It's about half an hour away. And there was a tornado warning on my way out, but I thought, you know, I'm still going to go. You know, like the Postal Service, rain or shine. So anyway, did my yoga class. It was fabulous. I had a bunch of packages to mail, and I got all those out. I'm so happy. So some of you out there are getting a package. I'm not going to say who. Anyway, hi, Barbara. Welcome. So got my mailing done, and then I got into my car, and I got a message from my husband saying, you know, there's a tornado, and it's kind of near you, where you are. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to just be careful. I'll be cautious. Anyway, hi, Jamie. Seeing people join in. Got to say hi. So I started driving, and there was no rain at all. And about 3 blocks later, it was coming down, pouring. And I thought, oh my gosh. And the road was kind of bumpy. And I thought, this is weird. This is a really bad road. Well, it wasn't the bad road. It was that there was debris all over the road. And I had about a half an hour to drive home. So anyway, drove a little ways, and the rain got worse. I had to pull over because the visibility was so bad. And then, you know, kept driving, and it was okay. Big, huge, like little mini lakes along the road. Was terrible. So I had the bright idea to get off of the main road, thinking, you know, be on a smaller road, and that was really a bad idea. Because trees come down on smaller roads, right? So anyway, I got about halfway home, and then there were all these trees down, trees pulled up. You could see the roots of trees. There was debris everywhere, and we were all, you know, there were trees in the way, so you couldn't go one way, so you go another way, and oh my gosh, it was kind of crazy. Fortunately, I eventually got home, and it was no problem with a few twists and turns, and I hope those of you who are here in Charlotte were safe at home instead of actually driving around like crazy me. Dedication to my physical practice. Anyway, it was all good. My husband and daughter were both texting me to make sure I was okay the whole way home. And of course, I wasn't texting while I was driving, but when I was at lights and such. But anyway, so that's my little story. Crazy day. And here I am. I'm so happy to be here, to be alive, not to be hurt. There was one fatality actually in the Charlotte area. Somebody, I guess, whose car got hit by a tree. So there were some major trees down in the places where I was today. So anyway, grateful for being here and being alive and not being hurt, and my house being fine too, which is really good. So anyway, so what I have for you today, couple announcements. As you guys know, the coordination products are now available to purchase, and those are the products that coordinate with some of the celebration items. These are items you buy, but that they go with celebration items, and they go with items in the mini catalog. I don't know if you guys saw my latest post, which was on Monday, of this project right here with this birthday cake. You can maybe see the lace die in the background. I just love this project. I did this for the Color Fusers blog hop, and that uses the birthday dies, which are one of the coordination products, and of course the Happy Birthday to You stamp set, which is backwards, but you get the idea. So anyway, so that's happening now, and those items are available while supplies last. So if there's anything that you really love, don't delay in getting them. You can see all the items that are available during that promotion on my website under the coordination tab on the sidebar. So definitely check those out. Let's see what else. Okay, so last week I talked a bunch about my technique classes, and it's now down to the wire, but I'm going to clarify a few quick things to help make it make more sense. So bottom line is there are lots of different options, probably too many, but the ones that are only available for a limited time right now are the technique class subscriptions and the clubs. Now those are basically ways of pre-ordering the classes that I teach. So I've taught 3 technique classes, done videos, and had project kits for those last year. So I had bleaching in June, I had distressing in August, and the cotton candy technique in October. So those classes can still be purchased in the electronic form. I do prepare some additional kits that I can sell to people beyond the publication of the class, the launch of the class. I think all 3 classes may have, I think there's 1 kit left for the bleaching class, and that may even be spoken for. So bottom line is the subscription and the club options allow you to get a guaranteed materials kit to go with the class, which of course makes it so much easier because you've got everything beautifully cut, pristinely cut and packaged by me. Detail-oriented little me. Anyway, so and the clubs allow you to get the class for free with a product purchase, plus you get the materials kit. And then the subscription that includes the materials kit allows you to, instead of paying $40 for the class, you pay, it's $40 each or $100 for 3. So you're paying $33 or something. So anyway, it gives you a discount on the class. And I realized that what that means is that you have to just have confidence in me that you're going to enjoy the classes that I teach, because I'm not announcing ahead of time what the techniques will be, and so I know that requires a bit of faith and just taking a leap to do that. I've been fortunate enough to have some people who are willing to do that with me, which is awesome. My clubs have been doing that with me for years because I never show them what we're going to do ahead of time. So anyway, I feel pretty blessed that some people trust me to put out some good materials and projects that they'll want to make. So if you do a club or you do a subscription, you're taking that leap of faith and saying, yeah, Melissa's going to do a great job. Yay. So hopefully that will be the case for everybody and they're happy with the classes that I offer. So I think that's an important distinction. So there's classes you can get that are available today. I can send them to you tomorrow without snapping my fingers or pressing my fingers on the computer. And then there's pre-order classes like the subscriptions and the clubs. So the deadline for that, the long story of that is that the deadline is going to be Monday, February 10th. And that's because I'm going to start cutting right after that because I've committed to mail out those project kits by the 15th. So I've got to cut and get those all in the mail and package for the people that commit to the materials kit and the clubs and the subscriptions and all that. So February 10th. So don't delay. Check out the details on my website. If it's too confusing, email me, call me, tag me on Facebook, whatever. I'm happy to work with you and figure out the answers to your questions and sort it out for what makes sense for you, because that's the most important thing. Okay, so, and also I should say that the clubs, not only are you pre-ordering it and you're getting the class free when you purchase product, but if you commit to a 3-class club, you get $25 in free product at the end of the club cycle. And if you commit to 6 classes, you're going to get $60 at the end of the club cycle. So it's kind of a way of getting delayed rewards, if you will, like Hostess Rewards almost. And so, yay, free product is wonderful. So that's it for my announcements. Please let me know if you have questions about it. And also my team members get the electronic materials for those classes for free. No commitment, no obligation. They just get to, have that content and make the projects on their own, and they'll have, and you would have everything you need to cut and prepare the materials yourself if you just do the electronic classes. Alrighty, so project demonstrations. I've got 3 projects for you. Today I'm featuring the Painted Poppies stamp set, as I mentioned. I'll be using the coordinating dies as well. And these are sneak peeks of the February Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle. So if you're not familiar with that is, I collaborate with a group of 7 other demonstrators. Somebody else organizes it and puts the PDF together, but we all contribute a design to that. They're pretty clean and simple designs. I usually have to remake it just slightly to fit what I own, but I think it's a nice opportunity to see how easy it is to remake something as well. Customers get that tutorial bundle for free with a $35 purchase if you're a newsletter subscriber, and my team gets it for free every month. So without further ado, I'm going to face the camera down and we'll get started. You get to see my displays for a second, and then I'll face the camera down. So bear with me for a sec. Alrighty, so there's the stamp set, the lovely Painted Poppies stamp set. And I just had to use the Poppy Parade color, right? You know, that's the right thing to use on a project like this. So this first project is super simple. It was the original design, which is actually, I pretty much kept to exactly the same design, was made by Sandra Hernandez of our design team group. And it's a simple layout, so I'm going to just do some quick stamping and show you how it comes together. So we've just got a strip of Whisper White cardstock here, and we're going to start with our Poppy Parade ink. And we're using this flower from the set. And I'm just going to stamp one of the poppies in the red. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp because the other images are going to be in black. Now for this project, I'm going to use my black StazOn, the jet black StazOn. We have two black inks, the Memento Black and the StazOn. And I find that when I really want the darkest, crispest, blackest image and not heat emboss, that I like to use the black StazOn because I think it's just the most crisp, dark black you can get. Now, if you're doing work with blends alcohol markers, you will need to use the Memento ink and not the StazOn. The StazOn does not work with the blends alcohol markers. So I'm just going to come on in here and do some stamping of this image and just kind of nestling the images in around the red one. Now, the only change that I did to this project was I used some Wink of Stella because I love Wink of Stella, and it adds just a little bit of extra, what's the word, shimmer and shine to the project. So there's my stamping all done. And then I'm going to go ahead and just attach it to some layers. Now, crossing my fingers, this baby's been, my adhesive's been a little temperamental in my last few Facebook Lives. So crossing my fingers, it doesn't do that today. I often do some of my adhesive ahead of time just to save time and not have you guys watching me adhere things. So now I got that layer done. This one has adhesive on the back already. Just layering it on my black piece. And now, super quick, right? This is just the fastest little card ever. I've already stamped my sentiment at the bottom. I wanted to make sure it was straight, and it's a little bit hard to stamp a sentiment on camera because I have to put my head right over what I'm working on, and you know, then you have to see the top of my head. So, so I did it ahead of time. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attach that on. Now I could leave it just like that. Isn't that pretty? I think it's pretty. Hi Sally, welcome. Hi Chrissy. Here is the finished project. You can see it just has a bunch of rhinestones on it now. I just spattered them all over the place. This one doesn't have the rhinestones or the Wink of Stella, but this one does have the Wink of Stella. You can probably see it in the camera a little bit. So, and actually I think either is just fine. I don't even know that it needs the other elements. It's just really simple and pretty. Now, if you wanted to mix it up, well, of course I've done my red on the left instead, but I like it there actually. Didn't even realize I did that. You could stamp and die cut one of these flowers and pop it up if you want to make it complicated or can't make it more complicated, just for fun. So that's project number 1. Project number 2 is a fun fold. And I'm pretty excited about this little fun fold. This one was designed by Vicky. I forget Vicky's last name. And we're using the sentiment from the Peaceful Moments set. And we're going to use a couple of, well, actually just one of the dies, this outline die right here for the sentiment. Now these come as a bundle packaged with the Painted Poppies set. So just in case you're wondering, this bundle is actually unorderable right at the moment. I'm so sad to have to say that. I think, you know, that it's been super popular. So waiting for that to show up again, especially since I'm doing a Painted Poppies class later this month. So anyway, those come as a bundle. And for this project, we're using the Triple Banner Punch and the Blackberry Bliss ink. Alrighty, get my pieces out here. After I do my Facebook Lives, it's always like a tornado around my desk because I just, in my hurry, right? I just take stuff, put it aside, get it out of my way. Okay, so I've done some of the work ahead of time, of course. Did some of the die cutting, cut out a few of those. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I'm excited to share, actually, with that. Okay, so here's my card base. And yes, it folds this way. So it's 5.5 by 7 and something. Can't remember exactly what. And it folds to this way, which seems really backwards, doesn't it? Seems backwards to me, but it's not, I promise. So now I've got my inside piece. Let's start with my designer paper. Is this not the prettiest designer paper? Oh my gosh, this is, I love it, my favorite. My favorite, I think, in that set. And I'm just gonna center that on this panel right here. This is actually a really simple little fun fold, but it's, you know, kind of special, which I like. Okay, unique and special. Okay, so I've got my inside piece here, and then I've got a little strip of Blackberry Bliss paper that's scored at 3/4 of an inch. And what I'm going to start with is, this is 1 inch wide, so it fits perfectly in the well of my Triple Banner Punch. Now, this is supposed to be 1 inch, 1.5, and 2 inches. What I find with this punch is you have to cut your piece a hair less than those amounts in order for it to actually slide in. So a hair less than 1 inch, and you push it all the way into the punch, so it's up against the back metal element piece, and then it's perfectly sized. All right, now this already has some adhesive on the back, on this little flap right here. So what I'm going to do, this also has adhesive on the back, so I've got to be careful when I do this. Make sure I get my spacing just so, because this is going to tuck in behind here. Okay, let's see. Alrighty, so I'm going to basically estimate my spacing. And now this is getting attached to the back side, the flap. And then that's going to go in here, and that's going to go on top. And the next thing is going to be, this is going to go here. So I think that's probably pretty decent spacing. I'm kind of eyeballing that. So now I can go ahead, and I already have adhesive on the back side of this little flap. And on the front side, it's being held on because I had adhesive on this piece. So you just want to make sure that that's securely on there. And then I'm centering it. Now, Vicky used a different designer paper. This is the one I had and the one I especially loved, so that's what I decided to use. Now I'm going to stamp one of my sentiments. Now, on the version that I made ahead of time, I used a different sentiment, but I wanted to show a creative way to make this a different size. So let me move some of this out of the way. And I have not actually done this, but I know it's going to work. Grabbing my Big Shot. I've done it with other dies. Okay. And then I need my base, my die. So the original card, the one that I made before going live, is made with this sentiment so that it's really tall and it fits into this just perfectly. But I wanted to do a variation, so now hopefully this is going to work well since I haven't actually done it. I'm going to line this up so that it's a little bit smaller so that it'll work with a thank you or with this thinking of you with all my heart, which I might want it to be a little bit bigger, but I think this is about the size that I want to end up with. So I'm just taking my pre-cut piece and I'm going to make sure that the cut line is on the outside of that edge so that I think that'll end up being just what I want it to be. So now I'm holding my breath here. I did this with another die the other day. In fact, it was for this project I showed you a second ago, this one. This die is from the Nature's, what is it called? It goes with the Positive Thought stamp set. It was a little bit too long, so I did the trick that I'm doing here with this die and made it just a little bit shorter. So it's just a fun way to use your dies in a creative way. Okay, so it worked. I'm so excited. Look. So now I went from having this size bigger to this one, and it looks just perfect. It has the edge just the way it's supposed to be. Oh, I'm so happy. The small pleasures in life, right? Okay, so you move this stuff out of the way. Alrighty. So my little trick. So now I can stamp my sentiment, and in this case I'm going to use, I think, the thank you. I use lots of thank you cards. And it should fit on there just perfectly. Now I'm going to test it on here, make sure it's looking straight. Nice and well inked up. And there we go. It's a little bit low, but it's going to have to do. Those aside. So now, and this one, of course, would probably have worked just perfectly with this size piece as well. Okay, so next, I've die cut a few of these lovely little pieces that are part of that set of dies as well. So there's the set of dies. And I'm going to attach them to the bottom and the top of my sentiment piece. Now, I used glue dots when I did it the first time, but this little edge right here is so narrow that the glue dots would probably show or would stick up a little bit more than I wanted. So I'm going to use a little bit of multi-purpose glue for this one. On my other card, I actually sandwiched two pieces, two of this size piece, so that I would be hiding. Just realized I'm doing the wrong side. Yes, I am. What we learn. Okay, has to be the front side, because the front side is what's gonna be showing. Okay, so I have to fix my little boo-boo. So now I have adhesive on the back side, and what you can do now, because I don't want that to be sticky, so I'm going to use my embossing buddy. Usually I use it as an anti-static with heat embossing, but I'm going to rub it over that adhesive, and it's going to basically take the stickiness away. Do you guys know that trick? It's a pretty cool trick. Comes in handy. Look, see, now it's perfect. Yay. I love tips and tricks. Okay, so let's try that again. Let's put it on the front side. You know what, maybe I should do the back side of this instead. Less likely to get it on stuff. Just place it right down on there, and then I can have as wide an edge as I want. Do the same on this side. This adhesive is also really nice because you can move your piece to adjust where you want it a little bit more readily than other adhesive. And it doesn't take too long to dry either. So leave that there. Just wipe off the excess. Alrighty, so there's my little sentiment piece. And yeah, I think I saw a heart flying by. Yay, somebody. Thank you. You know how much I like that, right? Alrighty, so next I'm going to go ahead and attach this on here. And I'm going to eyeball my spacing and put adhesive on this flap instead of on the back so it doesn't overhang where it isn't supposed to go. Now, I think on Vicky's she used a white sentiment piece, and I just kind of liked how the rich raspberry blended in a little bit more. It makes a little bit dark, but I think it's pretty cute. Hi, Sue. Hi, Pam. Just looking up at my camera momentarily. Okay, and then last but not least, I used a couple of these lovely little embellishments, which I've had for quite some time and never really had just the perfect thing for them. So I was so happy that these actually worked well on this. And I think this color doesn't show up enough, so I'm going to go ahead and use my white. Pretty little flowers. And then I went one step further and added a pearl in the center of the flower. So this is the kind of card that, of course, you send with a piece of cardstock over the top of it so that it doesn't make a hole in the envelope or get stuck in the postal service machine, which is never a good thing. Okay, let's get that baby on there. Perfect. And then I found with this, you can see how it's popping up, that I needed to take my bone folder and just burnish this edge quite a bit. And this edge. And of course you could also put a sentiment on the inside if you wanted to. But there is the finished fun fold. So it's super simple, but cute, right? Different. And let's see what else. So this is the original version, the one that I did when I was playing around to figure out what I was going to show you guys. So you can see the sentiment is a lot bigger. Used the same elements, just the narrower little sentiment piece. So what do you think? You guys like it? I hope so. I'm gonna look for comments. Need that feedback from you guys. Always like to hear what you think. Okay, so I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way. I got project number 3. Project number 3 is my design, my contribution to the Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle. So pulling in some watercolor paper. This project's gonna use watercolor paper. And oh, I'm glad you like it, Barbara. Thanks for feeding my, my need to have approval. Letting me know. Alrighty, so we're going to be doing some watercoloring. So I've got my aqua painter. I've got a little container to put some ink in. And then I'm going to be using Granny Apple Green, crushed curry, and thank you, Sue. Thank you, Rhonda. Looking up at the camera just a sec, the phone. And Poppy Parade, of course. So now I'm going to put my little droplets in here. I'm going to paint them in the order that I'm putting them into this thing, into this little, these repurposed accessory containers. So I've got my green and my yellow, crushed curry, and my poppy. Now, if you didn't know what colors those were, I mean, if I didn't tell you, would you know? And the answer is no. So I want to show you a little trick that I do. You might know this trick already, but I like to take a little piece of cardstock, and I don't even really need the name of it on there, but I do have it on there, and I'm just going to place it underneath. Actually, I'm going to place it this way so that it's right near the droplet. And then my crushed curry. My wording is upside down. Okay, we'll put it next to it. How about that? And then the last one is Poppy Parade. So if I'm creating with something for quite a while, and I know I'm going to be doing some watercoloring with the same colors, this is a great little trick for making sure that you're not going to lose track of which dot is which. I'll do it when I have my stamp club events or classes, because people just, if I'm not going to remember or be able to tell, they're not going to be able to tell, right? So anyway, they're close by their respective colors. Okay, so now tip number 2. When you're watercoloring, you need water, of course. So I've got water in my aqua painter. It's nice and full, and the ink will only go where the water is, when you're applying the ink. So I'm going to basically draw a rectangle on this. Now I could just do a quick little watercolor wash and have the edges be a little bit less regular, but I'm choosing to do this one this way. Define the edges of where I want the color to be. And obviously you can't see the water, but if I put it up under the light, I should be able to tell. And when it's wet like this, the other cool thing is, and I think you'll see it when I put the color on, is the ink moves around in a really fun way too. So I'm going to start with my crushed curry. Bring in an extra bit of paper towel there, and I'm just going to brush it along the bottom. So you see how it moves in the water. It's really cool. I like to start with the lightest color first. And I'm going to dab off the excess color. Come in and grab some Granny Apple Green. And you can do this as dilute or as rich in terms of color as you want. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend these colors just a little bit. Oh, I did it backwards. I was supposed to do green on the bottom. What am I thinking? Okay, I have to turn it over, because guess what? The red and the green is going to turn into brown, and that's not going to be any good. Okay, so let's try that again. Live on camera. How can we think of more than one thing at a time? Alrighty, I see there's a little shadow of yellow at the bottom. So I'm going to turn that over, and I'm going to start with my green, which is what I meant to do. Ooh, watch it move. I just love that. I think it's so fun. Okay. Now we'll do our yellow. Now I see a little green up there, and I don't want it to mix with the red and turn brown, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that with my paper towel, which is always very easy to do. Okay. Clean that off, start with my Poppy Parade, and add the Poppy Parade. So I don't have to necessarily blend the colors, but I like to do that a little bit so that it turns into a little bit of orange in the middle. And then each one of these is going to turn out different, and that's part of the fun of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that aside to dry, because you can't really do anything with it until it dries. I might blend that a little bit more if I were not on camera and you weren't waiting for me, but we'll see how it turns out when it gets dry later. All right, so next I'm going to pull in one that is dry. Yay! We love the magic of TV, right? And I'm going to come in with a couple of my stamps from that stamp set with my jet black StazOn. Now I did this one literally 10 minutes before I went on camera, so and it's completely dry, so it doesn't take a long time to dry, which is a wonderful thing. Now Just make sure I'm not forgetting some detail here. Yes, so the way I did this is this whole space is pretty much the whole height of this tall flower. So it makes it pretty convenient for the fit. I've done some other projects where I've stamped this flower and then I mask it so that I can stamp over the top. But for this particular project, I don't have to do that. All I have to do is stamp this second image next to it, centering it on the remaining space. And I think it looks really pretty doing it just this way. So there's my little focal piece. Pretty simple, right? And the layering on this card is also pretty simple, but there is another detail that I want to share with you. So the other thing that I did with this focal piece, make sure that's actually truly dry. Take that away. Bring it in my big shot. Got one more step on this focal piece. Got my big shot platform, and I'm using the subtle embossing folder. Surprise, surprise, right? And I'm going to go ahead and take my focal piece and put it right into the embossing folder. I've used this to death. Can you see? I had to tape it because it broke apart. I actually just bought another one of these because it's like, this is ridiculous. I use this all the time. I needed one that actually has a binding. So I'm going binding first. Again, that's what protects the binding, the spine. And I'm just going to run it through to dry emboss this piece. And it's just going to make it look like it's a canvas, you know, like it was truly painted. So can you see that? I just think it's so pretty with that added texture. So I'm going to show you the, let's see, do I have one that's a before? I think I do. Yes, here's a before, and here's the after. So the texture on this one and the one without. Now it's beautiful without, right? But with the texture, it just adds something extra. And then on my final card body layering, I've taken a piece of the Granny Apple Green, and I've also used the subtle embossing folder on it. I've already attached it to my black card base. And I'm going to go ahead and attach these pieces together. And there's basically, that's what you got. I'm going to show you ones that are done. Before I finish, though, I wanted to show you another fun option. So I'm going to make an inside for this. Just a simple inside, but what I'm going to do is, my stays on, and I'm going to do a few of these flowers. Let's see. I think I'll do them along the bottom. Just going to do a series of them. Just like that. And I have to do, oh, you know what? I have an idea. I'm going to take one of these tall ones and put it off to the left, just for fun. It's just coming out the side there. Should have done a little bit more. It's okay. All right, so now you could color these in, right? I mean, I've done a watercolor wash on that one. I could go in with a pen and just do some detailed coloring in here, but one of the images in the set that I love that makes it so easy to do something quick is this little splatter, and there's another smaller splatter in there. So the one I just showed you is this one, but there's also this little itty bitty one which works beautifully for the leaves. So for this is just a nice alternative for coloring. I'm just going to ink that up. I'm going to stamp it off because I don't want it to be too bright. And then I'm just going to do a random stamping over the top. And that was second inking, third inking. I'm going to do second inking on that one. And then I'll do a little bit over this itty bitty flower there. So it's just an alternative way to get some color onto those flowers without having to color them individually, which also looks beautiful, by the way, and I have done. But just thought it might be nice to show you the versatility of using that other stamp. Alrighty, so some of the finished ones that I've done. I've done them in a couple of other color schemes. So we've got this one, of course, with the Granny Apple Green right there. I want a clean piece of paper, but that's not going to happen. And then I've also done it in the Old Olive and in Mossy Meadow. So, of course, I started with Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, and Granny Apple Green. So there are my 3 cards. I know. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad there's so many fun tips. Thank you for saying so, Megan. Alrighty, so those are my projects, and these are the other ones, Vicky's and Sandra's, and don't you just love this suite? I love this suite, and lots of other people do too, which is why, of course, the bundle is temporarily unavailable. Anyway, I am doing a Painted Poppies stamp set class featuring this stamp set. I have used a couple of dies. If you choose to do it in person, of course, I have all the supplies here. If you want to do the online class, there are some options. There are 3 different options for one option where you actually get the stamp set, another option where you get the bundle. Obviously, you have to wait for the bundle since it's not available right at the moment, but and then you would get a project kit in the mail to make 8 cards, 2 each of 4 different designs. So that's the basics of the online class that I'm offering and the in-person class. And Sue's here and she's going to be with me. Yay, Sue! Among other local people. So I'm going to just face the camera back towards me and do some finishing up. And then we'll say goodnight. Okay, so always the trickiest part is turning the dang camera back around. So you're not, yeah, okay, kind of on top of the camera. All right, so just the quick little reminders. The coordination products are now available to buy. And let's see what else. My Technique clubs and subscription deadline is Monday the 10th for signing up for those. What else? And I'll be back next Thursday on February 13th, same time, same channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with more fun projects. And I guess that's pretty much it. So I hope to see you back next week, and thank you so much for joining in. And I hope you enjoyed the projects today. Bye. See you soon.